This is the very latest Range Rover, one of the most capable cars on the planet. Mums and dads use it to take kids to school. Adventurers use it to visit far-flung parts of the globe. And drug dealers use it because, well, look at it. It really is all things to all men. So when Land Rover said they were updating it for 2011, I wondered, what on earth could they do to improve it? One thing Land Rover has improved on this luxury SUV is the luxury. In the back, you get a rear seat entertainment system, which you did on the old car, but this model is even more futuristic. You get a couple of TFT displays, which you can use to watch digital Freeview or DVDs at the same time or independently. Audio is delivered over the car speakers, or if mum and dad want a bit of privacy, there are a pair of these wireless headsets. To be honest, that kind of stuff is pretty common in high-end cars, so Land Rovers had to step it up a notch, and they have. Check this out. This is the wireless remote control, and not just any old remote, it's actually a touchscreen. Basically, you hit this button to control what's happening on this screen, and this button to control what's happening on the right. It's not as sophisticated as it could be. For example, it doesn't show you artist information if you're listening to a CD, but I think you'll agree with me, it's a real step up from the norm. Mummy and Daddy have some real luxury toys to play with too. Up front, on the instrument binnacle, Land Rover's done away with the old school spinning needle crap and replaced it with a set of virtual instruments. Essentially, it's a big old TFT display that shows the rev counter, your speed, and there's a gap in the centre for showing fancy contextual graphics. It's clear that Land Rover has put all questions about whether they can improve the cabin tech in this car firmly to bed. But whether that new Range Rover lives up to its incredible off-road heritage, well, that's another question altogether. Pop quiz. What do the Queen, Thierry Henry, David Beckham, and Claudia Schiffer all have in common? The answer is, in one roundabout way or another, they've all owned a Range Rover. And just to illustrate that point, here are some classic heritage Range Rovers dating back from God knows when. This model, State 1, was built to transport royalty. This one, sadly, was left outside our offices for 10 minutes too long. This model was used by Strathclyde police to capture bad guys. Speaking of which, yeah, roger that. There's a couple of perps getting away in the vineyard. Let's roll. Right now we are in hot pursuit of some dastardly criminals, but don't worry, they're not getting anywhere and they're not going to take us down, because this is actually a 1997 armed police response unit. It has 180-degree ballistic protection, and that means the windscreen is bulletproof, the side glass is also bulletproof, and there's plenty of cubby holes to stash the machine guns. Now, one of the beauties of the Range Rover is that, unlike ordinary police cars like Astras and so forth, this thing can go absolutely anywhere. It can pursue criminals on a motorway, down a windy B road, or off-road. Luckily, this particular model has plenty of gadgets to help me catch the bad guys. Up on the dashboard, there's a load of buttons for controlling various features, like the left and right alley lights for shining into dark alleys where criminals are trying to make their getaway. There's also the roof lights to let people know that you are on their tail, and of course, the siren button. You're next. Luckily, the 2011 Range Rover does indeed live up to expectations, and then some. The car has a brand new 4.4-litre TDV8 engine and an equally new 7-speed gearbox, which increases power from 267 brake horsepower to 309, and torque from 472 up to 516. This, combined with some frankly incredible four-wheel drive technology, means there's almost nowhere the latest Range Rover can't go. Mountains? No problem. It conquers those like William conquered England. As for water, forget about it. Just raise the air-sprung suspension, point the car at your nearest river, and kick back, because this thing is damn near amphibious. It's easy to assume that because the Range Rover is such a big car, manoeuvring it through narrow spaces and around treacherous mountainsides can be quite tricky. However, the car puts technology to very good use to ensure this isn't the case. Now, on terrain like this, where the path is quite narrow, usually I should be looking out the windows and hanging my head outside to see where I'm going, but one of the cool gadgets inside this car are the onboard cameras. So if you look at the center console, There are actually 5 cameras dotted around the chassis, and they give you a close-up view, and you can actually click on a camera to actually zoom in and find out exactly how close you are to an obstacle, such as a rock or an errant child. It's actually a great use of technology in what is ordinarily quite a brutish activity.
What's also magic is the fact that the new Range Rover is just at home halfway down a river as it is on your local high street. It's hugely civilized and very, very comfortable.
It's also a really nice drive. That new engine has bags and bags of torque. It feels extremely powerful no matter what you're doing. Also, unlike diesels of old, it doesn't sound like you're murdering a bag of cats. It sounds like a proper V8. It will do 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds, which is nice, but if you want to take it easy, that's okay too. The suspension is nice and soft without being too wallowy, and it's equally at home whether you're stuck in traffic or on the motorway.
Cars of this ilk tend to get a very bad rep for guzzling fuel and polluting the environment. The 2011 model is very unlikely to escape this criticism, but Land Rover's taken positive steps to make this a cleaner, more efficient car. It's the first Range Rover to break through the 30 miles per gallon barrier, clocking 30.1 on the combined cycle. This edition's CO2 output drops from 294 grams per kilometre to 253 grams as well, making it even kinder to the environment. The Range Rover is an incredible piece of engineering. There probably isn't another car in the world that is as comfortable and as well equipped as this one, whilst delivering this level of off-roading ability. The old Range Rovers really were difficult to beat, but with this 2011 model, Land Rover's outdone itself. It is, in a word, epic.